stop it. Or when you're done from the class, just click stop here.
Okay. All right.
And what time are you done? I'll be
11:50.
All right.
Maybe a little bit earlier. I don't know that we'll take the entire time.
Andrew.
Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Andrew, oh yeah, Andrew. Our late arrival. Good to see you. I wish you were not using a locker, but I'm glad you're here.
I should be out of it in about a week.
It shows tenacity to make it in here with a locker. Hey, Zach.
I have a quick question. See, this was the one that did that, because I was in
Oh, it wouldn't let you submit it?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
I'll go through a little demonstration and I'll use that one specifically
Okay.
to
Okay, so
and if it doesn't work, we'll get it fixed.
thanks.
Okay. All right. The system.
We'll
I'm
do
going to
that.
temporarily log you out and log myself in.
Oh,
with a,
okay.
With a test account, and the test account lets them see this just as if it was them, because the students' view is different than the
Okay.
instructors' view.
Now, I won't have to restart Tegrity or anything, right?
Oh no.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Hi. How you doing?
Doing well?
Good. I'm Pat. Nice to meet you.
Now that's just as if I was a student. And
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have all the control panel and everything in there, so
Okay.
that helps a little bit. So, can all of you guys log into Blackboard okay? So why don't you go ahead and log into Blackboard, and if you have any trouble at all, just let me know. I just want to take about 10 minutes of class time to make sure you can submit your assignments okay. This morning I looked and I noticed that there were quite a few assignments that weren't submitted, and I'd like to help everybody in the class get up to date. I think here in the first 2 to 3 weeks of class, as long as you get it in by next Wednesday, we'll give you credit for it, because we do want to be strict on deadlines to teach in the student success course that it's important, but I think we're dealing with technology here, and we want to make sure everybody has a fair chance to get in there. All right, so she's going to help me, and I'm going to. Your two main buttons that you want to be aware of are the assignments button and then the grades button. So the grades will actually
I think
show
that's what your major's going to be.
what you've submitted so far. So if you click on grades,
The general studies.
you should have a score there for welcome.
Okay. That would be the general studies, which is not on there.
This means I did a report on syllabus,
But if you're doing your, does it have liberal arts on there?
This is our
Does it have
hybrid
liberal
student
arts on
success
there?
course. So we have
No.
some classes online, some in the classroom, and we're making sure everybody's up to speed with how to submit their assignments this morning. So if you don't have anything there, if this is blank, that means that we didn't get whatever you submitted for your syllabus report, so you have to go through the process again. And you will see a due date here for every single assignment, so it'll be important for you. Like I say, we're going to give you
I would
what we
put
call an amnesty period to
science in
submit
there
everything
if I
you
were
haven't
you.
submitted so far. But then next week we'll start keeping closer track of it.
Yeah, that's what I'd do if I were you.
So any questions so far? Can you guys see your grades in the grade book there?
Good morning.
I had one, who was it that said they couldn't submit that online writing lab assignment? Zach? Zach said he couldn't submit. So here's, and maybe we have something in there that we have to fix, I'm not sure, but if I were to go to week 1, and if I were to go to this online writing, click on the assignment itself, and then it says that I've submitted an assignment. If I want to start a new submission because I've redone my work and I think I've done a better job this time, I can start it here. And when I've completed the document, I can scroll down and browse to it, browse my computer, and pick up. I'm just going to pick up this, so it happens to be convenient, and submit it.
Hi, Tiffany. If you just want to find a computer and log into Blackboard, do you know how to do that?
It's been a while.
And I'll
Okay.
show you that I submitted that assignment again.
You want to come up here?
So, Zach, does that help you? Can you submit something by clicking on that assignment section and then browsing to it?
Yeah. Well, it just wouldn't let me like look at this, like it's video or something. I don't know. It wouldn't download the video.
Oh, okay. All right, so you know how to submit the assignment.
Yeah.
But this was mainly a course content type of a thing. So, or maybe it was up here on assignments where it was it in week 1?
Yeah.
So week 1. Which video was it?
Do you know your Bear Pass login and all that?
Owl and Grammar Girl. Okay, so that was where you could, if you right-click on it and click Open in a new window, that might be the key to getting it to open. Let's see if that works. There it is. And it's actually not a video, it's just a website.
Okay.
So did you get there?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think sometimes if we just click directly on them, they don't always open up the way we would like them. This one happened to open up, but so if you open it in a new window, that might solve that problem. All right, that's really mainly all I wanted to show you guys so that you can get all of your assignments turned in okay. So if you have any questions. If you have any trouble turning in your assignments, just holler at me.
This is Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. Oh, welcome. Glad to have you in the class. All right.
Click on current students.
Okay, now I'm going to let Mrs. Pat Walsh sign in, and I'm going to let her take over the class. By the way, next week you guys are online, and the following week you're online. So I wanted to meet you, and I wanted to show you how to submit your assignments so we can be sure you keep them up to date. Never hesitate to call either Kat or myself. And if you're having trouble turning in assignments or anything, and check your email regularly. If you're behind on your assignments, one of us will be sending you emails to see if we can help.
So I need to start filling this form. I need to start filling it.
Yeah, so if you click on that, you should be able to see the assignments. And there they are. And then to submit the assignments, you just click on like the word syllabus there, and that will give you a chance to submit the assignment. There will be a place where you can browse to it down here, browse my computer and submit it. So I think you're maneuvering around there pretty good.
It's been a while since I've been on the phone.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful class.
Okay, we're going to get started, and I'm getting used to this microphone. I've never done this before. So hopefully it works. And if have any of you used Tegrity in some of your other classes yet? Have you? It's kind of cool. You can go back in and listen to a lecture over again. You can go to a place that maybe you didn't catch something, fast forward through it. It's really a nice tool that we're starting to use, that more and more faculty are starting to use. And since we're doing this class as a blended class, we wanted to make sure and record our in-class sessions, because we do have a couple students that are doing this section completely online. So they're going to be able to review what we did in class using Tegrity, the Tegrity recordings. Hopefully it works. The text that you're to get for this class, hopefully all of you have got it. It's a very small pamphlet that says how to get good grades in class. In college, really, it's more than just getting good grades. It's strategies to help you be successful in college. And it's a real simple, pretty down and basic guide. And if you follow it, you should be successful in college. And so I highly encourage you to read the text. We're not going to do any tests over the text, but we will be covering some of the material and hopefully highlighting a few things in there that will help you. Today I'm going to look at step 1 in the book, step 2, and 10. I'm going to skip to 10. The first step in the book is go to class. It's a pretty simple thing to do, but go to class. And then it's be organized, and the last one is to use the resources that are available. And the reason I skipped to that one, the last one, is I think it's pretty important for you to know what resources we do have available here for you as you're here at Missouri State as a student. So that's what we're going to look at. Step 1, how to get good grades. Go to class. It's a pretty simple thing. You can't really get around that a whole lot. And of course, you know, life happens and illness happens and those kinds of things. So one of the advantages to using this recording is that if you do miss a in-class session that we have, you should be able to go back and review that and get caught up with everyone else in the class. But that is a really basic thing in college. Go to class. What about if you do an online class? What does that mean, go to class, when you're doing an online class? Last year or two, I took some online classes through Florida State as a professional development for my own career. And online courses are, I think, almost more difficult than being in the class. I feel like I'm a pretty independent student and can learn pretty well on my own. I was surprised when I did the online class how much I missed being in class with everyone, with the instructor, and hearing them talk about whatever topic we're covering and hear the input from other students. So if you're going to do an online class, what I think this means about going to class for an online course is making sure you check in regularly, making sure you participate in discussion boards and respond to what other students are saying. Respond to what the teacher is saying. Ask questions when you don't understand things. I think that's what this means when you're doing an online course, and I highly encourage you to do that. This may not work for you. What helped me with an online course was I set aside a certain time during the week when I knew that's when I would go to class for that online course. And maybe I didn't get everything done that I needed to for that course, but I scheduled myself that I knew that was be the time this week I'll spend on that course. So if you do at some point take a completely online class, I highly encourage you to make yourself schedule that class. And the online weeks of this class, attend. Schedule a time next week where you know you're going to spend in this class, and I think that will really help you with being successful. And I think that's what it means to go to class when you're in an online course. The step 2 in the little book says be organized. And that's another pretty basic thing to being successful in college, is to organize yourself. Know what works for you, how you need to organize your time. You've got other responsibilities. You've got work. You've got family. Schedule your time. That goes back to scheduling that time to be in the online class. Schedule the time that you need to spend studying. And like I said, that's a pretty basic thing, and maybe doesn't need to be said, but we're going to say it. It's pretty explicit. Be organized. I put in the Blackboard folder some examples of different planners. The bookstore has a planner you can buy, but I put in the Blackboard folder for this, in the assignment tab, and in this week's folder, the third week, I put in 3 different samples of planners that you can use. One is an Excel spreadsheet that if you pull it up on your computer, you can fill in the little cells and schedule your time. Another one is a pretty basic, takes a week, and you can schedule what you're going to do that week. And then another one goes even in more detail, and you can schedule every day. This is what I'm going to do. So you can print off as many of those as you want and just use them. If you care to purchase a planner, I highly recommend you get some kind of a planner that you're going to use this semester, and you might want to try out some different ways to do it. When I'm organizing my work, I have a list that I keep of what I'm working on, and as I finish them, I cross off the list, and the next week, whatever I didn't accomplish that was on that list, I move it to a new list and add to it that following week. That's what works for me. So find a way to organize your work that works for you and makes sense to you and what you've got going in your life besides school. Okay. This isn't really in the book, but this is the Grizzly Den. Have you all been in the Grizzly Den? My Grizzly Den. You can access Blackboard through My Grizzly Den, but there's a lot of stuff in there besides Blackboard. You can check your university email. You can set up email preferences through My Grizzly Den. We have an alert system. The Missouri State has an alert system in case campus is closed due to bad weather, which I wonder if we're going to have bad weather this winter. February is always the month I get really nervous about because it seems to be the one that can go either way. And last year we had several days, I think it was in February, that we closed campus. And so there's an alert system. There's different ways you can get those alerts. You can get them on your phone. You can get them in email. So check that out. Set up how you want to receive those messages in there. And then your Bear Pass login is how you get into the Grizzly Den. Once you're in the Grizzly Den, this is what it looks like. There's different tabs, and of course, I, as a faculty and staff person, I have my own Grizzly Den, and this is the stuff that I have access to as a faculty staff person, so my tabs will probably look a little different than yours. You probably won't have a teaching and advising tab, but you should have a course tab or an enrollment tab that has the classes that you're enrolled in. And I want you to log into the Grizzly Den. As you can see over here, student email. The cash course, I think there's some point during our term we're going to look at cash course. That may be next week's assignment. I don't remember, but this is one way you can get into it. But if you would go ahead and log into My Grizzly Den, and you should have a tab that says My Enrollment on it. Does everybody have that? Once you get in there, and under the My Enrollment tab, there's in the middle, it says My Advisor. I want you to find out who your advisor is. You may already know who your advisor is, but look at who your advisor is. This is the person, when we get to the time to register for summer and fall, this is the person that you're going to see to register for classes. They'll give you a PIN number, and you can go in and register for classes. So you need to know who this person is. If you have, questions about what you need to take next, if you're struggling in a class, this person can help you figure out what to do. So you need to make sure and know who your advisor is. And make sure when you're in Grizzly Den, especially if you're on one of the school computers, that you log out. Don't just close your browser, because somebody else can get into your Grizzly Den and see your stuff that you don't want them to see. So, any questions about that so far? Okay. Grade point average, how to figure it out. Okay, we're going to look at how to figure out your grade point average. So, we're going to do this worksheet. We're going to do the first semester together. And then you can finish this on your own whenever. And did I give you? Yeah. So to figure your grade point average, first thing you're going to do, at least here at Missouri State University, West Plains, is ignore the pluses and minuses. Some schools give you, the points vary depending on the plus and minus. Here we don't do that. An A minus is worth the same thing as an A. A B minus is worth the same thing as a B. So you can see up here that what the points are. So if you get an A, you're going to get 4 points for that A. A B is 3 points, a C is 2 points, and a D is 1 point, and an F is 0, and nobody in here is going to get an F, so you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so depending on how many hours the class is, that is how many points you're going to get for a class. So if we look at this first semester, and in the English they got a B, and it was 3 credit hours. Okay, well, a B is worth 3 points. So 3 times 3 is 9. So you're going to get 9 total grade points for that B, because the class was a 3-hour class. Okay? Math, they got an A minus, which we said don't mess with the minus, so it's the same thing as an A. 4 points, and again, it's 3 hours. So you're going to get 12 points for that class. The history class was a C plus, which is 2 points, 3 credit hours. So you get 6 grade points for that one. So then we have an A, 4 points, and 3 hours. Then we have an A, 4 points. This one was only 1 hour, so you're going to have 4 grade points for that one. And then the last one was a B, 3 points. And this was a 2 credit hour class, so you're going to get 6 points. So to figure out your GPA, you need these two totals. You need the total number of hours that you had, and you need to total the grade points. Okay? So, how many hours did we have? 15? And if you don't, this is 40, you should come up with 49. Okay? And then, to figure out your GPA, you divide 49 by 15. And so the GPA for this term was 3.266. That's how you figure out a GPA. Okay? And I'm going to let you do the second semester on your own. And then at the bottom, you're going to figure out what is called the cumulative GPA. And that's all of the work you've done all together, what your cumulative GPA is. So these 2 semesters together, you're going to figure out your cumulative after you've figured out the second semester. And what you're going to do to figure out the cumulative is take the 2 totals, the 15 plus however many hours you have in that second semester, and in the grade points, you're going to take the 49 plus however many points you have in the second semester, and you're going to total those 2 up, and so it'll be the total of the 2 hours, the amount of hours you had both semesters. You're going to take that and divide that in the total of the grade points that you had for both semesters. So it's still the same formula, but it's the 2 together. And remember, I said this is not a math class. So if you don't do the addition right, I'm not going to take it off, take points off. Just do it. And if it's wrong, I'll correct it and give it back to you and show you what you did wrong. Yes?
What did not in college for? You don't have last semester.
Well, I'm asking you to do this worksheet.
Okay.
Not your own grades. Not your own grades. But this worksheet. So you're going to be like, this is your first semester. And so you want your cumulative, on your first semester of college, your cumulative GPA is going to be the same as your term GPA. But once you have a second semester in there, then your cumulative GPA will change. Does that make sense? Okay. And you can turn that back into me the next time we meet, which is week 6. Now, when you look at your transcript in My Grizzly Den, this is all going to be figured out for you. Okay, you're not going to have to do this every time. But you do need to know how to do it, because if you want to figure out what you're going to, if you're, hopefully you won't fall into this category, but maybe you're struggling one semester and you need to know, what if I get a C in this class? What is that going to mean to my GPA? Or what if I get a D in this class? What's that going to mean to my GPA? If you know how to do this, you should be able to figure out, how is this going to affect my cumulative GPA? So that's why you need to know how to do this. The last thing we're going to go over is the resources that we have available here at Missouri State University West Plains for you as a student. I've got a couple things to give you. One is a short list of resources, and the other is a list of all the student organizations on campus that you can be a part of. The list of student organizations is also in the Blackboard folder, the assignment folder for this week. You can follow up on these organizations on your own, but if there's one on there that you want to be a part of, if you want to give that, put your information at the bottom and give it back to me, I'll make sure that it gets to the organization and they'll contact you about their activities. Either way, it's up to you. But I just want to make sure you know what's available to you. FAQ, frequently asked questions. On the website, on the main website, there's an FAQ, and it's a pretty long document. It answers a bunch of questions. Where do I find my advisor? What about student employment? How do I find out about student employment? Where do I get a parking permit? All kinds of questions. It's really long, but it has a lot. It's full of a lot of really good information. So I encourage you to look. If you have a question, look there. If you don't find the answer, ask me, because I'm the one that put that together. I got everybody on campus all together to put that document together, and if we need to add a question that's not there, I'd like to know that, actually. Your academic advisor, we already talked about that. Career Center is in Cass. Everybody know where Cass Hall is? Down this way, right down this way. Career Center in there. I gave you a list of the clubs, the activities that we have on campus. I think you got a brochure already about the student service counseling services that are available. I'll have some extra ones of those the next time we meet in case you didn't get one. Disability services. Pam Tate is the lady's name that works with students with disabilities. Her office is in Saas, the Student Academic and Support Center in Garnett Library. Financial aid is also in Cass Hall, and they'll help you with financial aid. There are health services available to students, and those are also listed in that brochure. There's also information on the website about that. TRIO Student Support Services. TRIO is a grant program that we got as an institution, and it provides special tutoring for students. You have to apply to be in TRIO, but I highly encourage you to apply to TRIO for the extra support that it provides. They do a lot of really wonderful extra activities for students. There's certain qualifications that you have to meet to be a part of TRIO, but I highly encourage you to check TRIO out. Like I said, they have special tutors, they have special counselors for extra support. They take trips, they do a lot of different activities. They have financial literacy courses that they do, just study strategies, that kind of thing. So I highly encourage you to check TRIO out. Of course, the library, Garnett Library, the physical building, but there's also, we have a lot of library resources online. We're hooked up with the library in Springfield on the Missouri State campus, and there's a lot of information there. When I was doing online coursework, I was able to find a lot of stuff there that helped in my classes. You're going to have online library week where you're going to see some video and do some activities online with the library. VIP Center for VA students. If anybody's a VA student, we have a special center for VA students to get counseling on VA benefits. tutoring support for veterans, just different kinds of things. Mark White is the name of the man that's at the VIP Center. That is also in Garnet Library back through Saas, the Student Advisement Center. Single Parent Resource Center. Single Parent Resource Center is an off-campus site. It's right across the street from the Civic Center. The little Episcopal church with the red door, it's the house right next to that. I don't remember the name of the street, but it's right across from the Civic Center. It's a place to go if you're a single parent. You take your kids. They don't do daycare, but you can take your kids. There's a place they can play while you study, while you connect with other single parents. There's 2 computer labs in the Single Parent Resource Center. Honors program. Dennis Lancaster, his office is in Kellett. Kellett is the big brick house that's down the Main Street on the other side of the clock tower. The honors program is a wonderful way to get involved on campus. You do extra studies, but you get extra credit, and when you graduate, you get an extra little thing for you that does it. You don't have to be a 4.0 student to be in the honors program. But it's a wonderful program to be a part of. The Rec Center, Student Rec Center, brand new. We had our grand opening last fall, and I encourage you to go over there and use that. The hours, I think, are posted this week on the bathroom stall study thing. And you're welcome to use that anytime. Also, the Civic Center, the Fitness Center. That's what I'm trying to think of. Fitness Center pool. With your student fees, you get free membership to that. So I encourage you to use that. Records and registration. That's in CAS. That's, your transcript, adding classes, when you get ready to graduate, your graduation application. Ladies there are very helpful. And then tutoring. We have all kinds of tutoring services available. I already talked about TRIO, and the VA students have tutoring in the VIP Center. Our tutoring lab is in Melton, the building right across the street from here. Alexander Graham is the tutoring specialist for writing, and Thora Broyles is the tutoring specialist for math. And they can help you get set up with tutoring in those subjects, as well as there's tutoring available in other subjects as well. And then there's Tutor Talk Online, which you can find on the website, and it's tutoring after hours. When the tutoring lab is closed, you can still get help from tutors using the online Tutor Talk. And then the last thing I'm going to go over with you is all the places. We have tons of computer labs on campus, if you haven't discovered that already. Academic Outreach Center. There's 2 computer labs. That is the little white house on Pennsylvania Avenue, and that's really, if you continue on with bachelor's degree here on our campus, that's the Academic Outreach Center. Okay? Garfield Hall, there's 5 computer labs in Garfield Hall, which that's TRIO. That's where TRIO is. Okay? They've changed the name of that to the TRIO building. Grizzly House, the dorm, there's a computer lab. Kellett, the building I told you about where the honors professor is, there's a computer lab in there that's really quiet. It's very isolated from the rest of campus. The library has a computer lab. Looney, where the nursing and respiratory therapy programs are. There's a computer lab. Of course, the lab out here in Liebeyer, you've all seen that. Melton has a computer lab on the second floor. Putnam Student Center has a computer lab. And then, as I mentioned, the Single Parent Resource Center has 2 computer labs, one upstairs and one downstairs in that house. That's all I have to go over today. I encourage you to read the text. It won't take you long to read that text. The little book, How to Get Good Grades. Helpful, good information in there. How is your first couple weeks going? Going okay? Going okay?
You don't have enough to sleep.
Yeah, that's a symptom of being a college student. Well, I'm done. And you guys can go if you want to go. Those of you that are new today that weren't in the first class, my office is just straight down the hall. If you ever need me in the academic affairs, my email is pwalsh@missourustate.edu. Pretty easy. Cool. I think you did it.
I did it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now with the phone,
Yes.
wouldn't you round these up
Actually,
to 20, like 327?
some schools round them up and some don't. Because if you think about it, if you round up, that means a 3.99 would be a 4.0. And a 3.99 is not a 4.0.
Yeah.
So
I know what Houston's one.
that looks right.
So since we turn this in, do we have to do it online?
No.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
I was going to turn posts.
Okay, great. Good.
Did I do the? I think I did it right.
No. Let me look at my key. Where did I put my key? I don't do this in my bed. This is 18. Yep.
Throw it off.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I just need to change it online or?
No.
It's good. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.